Good afternoon. Wow, what a really exciting couple of days. You know, after those sessions, I feel the excitement and the energy, and I know we're all going to get to return home with an even deeper purpose and passion to impact our community. Before we go on, I want to take just a moment to recognize and thank again our conference sponsors one more time. Lilly, AbbVie, Janssen, Novartis, and Pfizer. Please give them a round of applause. Before I introduce our keynote speaker, Andrea Avery, I want you to please check out NFL Kansas City Chiefs player Trakandrick West. Shout out on Twitter. And would you please retweet that? I don't know how to do this, but there's people who know how to do this. Please retweet that. And remember, respond by using the hashtag PurposePassion17. Retweet that around. He wishes he could be here with us, but he is preparing for, all right, as a Giants fan, this hurts, because he's going to whoop my New York Giants. But the big game against the New York Giants this weekend, so he can't be here, but we know he's going to be thinking of us. In a few minutes, Andrea Avery, author, English teacher, and active foundation volunteer here in Phoenix, will share her inspirational story that intertwines piano, grit, and the ups and downs of living with arthritis. Recently, Andrea wrote Sonata, a memoir of pain and the piano. In her book, Andrea describes her experiences growing up as an aspiring pianist, even after a diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis at the age of 12. A natural teacher and leader, Andrea's Walk to Cure Arthritis team from Phoenix Country Day School, where she teaches, raised $8,461, placing them in the elite category. I hope that as you've been enjoying your lunch, and you keep enjoying lunch, I hope you've had an opportunity to network with your peers and get to know them a little bit better. I would like us, though, to move along in our program so that we don't fall too much farther behind. So I am going to right now welcome Andrea to the stage.
Hello. Well, the advantage of being the closing speaker is you get to be the closing speaker. The disadvantage is you follow not just one tough act, but all of them. So, you know, I'm not a stand-up comedian. I'm a high school teacher, same thing. And Matt, I'm coming for you because I was voted Richard Montgomery High School, class of 1995, class clown. Actually, something that Matt said last night, he pointed out the old logo of the Arthritis Foundation, and I had to laugh because I'll tell you who they don't consult when they redesign a logo, and that's those of us who got the old logo tattooed on our bodies in our 20s. So, in the reams of advice I give young people, it's think about brands and how brands morph before you get tattoos. I'm also not the elegant, extemporaneous speaker that someone like Mark was yesterday. I was sure he was using a prompter, and it turns out no. I'm a writer. You can tell because I have glasses and cat hair on my clothes. I work on the page, and so I hope you'll indulge me as I share with you the thoughts I've gathered in writing. It really is an incredible honor to be here with you today. Over the last day and a half, I've learned so much about what all of you are doing, this exciting and effective work that you're doing to improve the lives of people with arthritis, even as many of you have arthritis. That work is happening in homes and communities, in workplaces and schools, in boardrooms and state houses. Even though I've been involved with and benefited directly from the work of the Arthritis Foundation for the last 30 years, the Conference of Champions these last days has given me a newly appreciative understanding of how diverse the tasks before the foundation are, and how dexterous and nimble the response is. So far in my own life with arthritis, I've been touched by the work of the foundation in different ways, and I want to tell you about some of those today. Early on, when I was a 12-year-old kid, newly diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, the foundation appeared as the official slogan, slogans also change, was in those days as a source of help and hope. I attended, with my mom, who's here with me today, several national conferences of the American Juvenile Arthritis Organization, where I learned, I think we both learned, how to understand and explain this disease to other people, what to expect and what not to fear, which aspects of arthritis to accommodate and adjust to, and which aspects to dig in our aching heels and fight. In this first point of contact, these early years, the foundation was like a pair of helping hands for me. One hand bore great fistfuls of information and insight, and the other hand reached out and pulled me into a community, the only place I'd been at that point in my life where I didn't have to explain to anyone that kids get arthritis too. At that point, I was only a recipient of what the foundation had to offer. In my later adult life, the foundation emerged again like a hand, but this time tapping me on the shoulder to say, "Hey, you, help." Which is why I've become involved at various times with such efforts as the Advocacy Summit, the Arthritis Walk, and really the students led the charge on that. I did not captain that team, I was just there. But most recently, a really fantastic event called the Enterprising Women Luncheon here in Phoenix. The cool trick of it is, of course, that as a volunteer with the foundation, I continue to benefit from the information, insight, and community support I received as a beneficiary. So, it should be apparent to you now that when you invite a cat hair festooned, bespectacled writer type to speak to you, you get an extended metaphor. My students could have warned you. Now, regarding metaphors, I understood the lily thing right off the bat. So I really just needed to use the hand metaphor to get me to hands and fingers. There are some storied fingers in this room with us today. Here's a sentence I never thought I'd say. The world-renowned concert pianist, Maestro Byron Janis, is right over there, seated next to me, and in just a few moments, he will flex his legendary fingers to create music for us. As for my own fingers, while they are no longer really the fingers of a pianist, they are the site on my body where my story of rheumatoid arthritis has played out most painfully, and where the disease's effects are etched most visibly. In my book, reflecting on the years of success I did have at the piano before arthritis, I wrote that my fingers were extraordinarily good fingers before they were extraordinarily bad fingers. If I could take that line back, I might. Although as a memoirist, I'm here to tell you, it turns out you don't get to take anything back. So if you're plotting that memoir, keep that in mind. But I would take that line back, perhaps, because my fingers are not the fingers they once were, but they are not bad fingers. They are not conventionally attractive, no. They are angular and weird, which is kind of my look. If my fingers are actresses, they are more Margaret Hamilton than Judy Garland. These three don't extend at all. These two have no sensation. Even the good ones don't bend. But I don't have to tell you in this room not to underestimate those with mobility issues. These fingers can do more than you might think. They can't play piano like they once did, but they are not silenced. They can play to an extent. They surprise me. They might surprise you. At a book signing last spring when my book came out, my big dreamed of book launch, someone suggested that I get a stamp of my signature so I didn't have to struggle to sign my name over and over. I was not struggling, though it may have looked like it. I pointed out that these fingers wrote that book. They can sure handle signing it. And I would never deny these noble fingers their chance to sign books. A book signing was a day I dreamed of with my heart and my hands. So I am proud of these fingers and what they have accomplished. To be honest, I do not think I would have so many things to be proud of, nor would I be able to look at my body of work and my physical body with pride if it were not for the early experiences I had with the Arthritis Foundation. If I had not been swept up, literally, within months of my diagnosis, into foundation hands and delivered to my first AJAO conference in Salt Lake City. It was there, and in the conferences I continued to attend throughout my youth, that I first learned how to look forward to a life with arthritis in it. Not a way to love my life despite arthritis, but a way to love a life that had arthritis in it. In fact, two pivotally important things happened to me at these conferences. They were both chance meetings, 25, 30 years ago now, and I want to tell you about them. If you're like me, and you live for those satisfying moments in movies or books when a character you met, on page 5, turns up at the end, and you thought, oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. You're going to like this. The first was my encountering of the most beautiful piece of music I've ever heard. It was a Schubert sonata, and it came streaming out of a boombox at an art therapy session at the Providence AJAO conference. Providence, you can't write this stuff. At the time, I was still a performing, competing, dreaming pianist, and this piece of music captured my imagination. I chased it for years. It became the soundtrack of my book and of my life, and it gave purpose and an arc to my time at the piano. And to think, that happened the way it happened because of a foundation that knew of the therapeutic value of art for kids with arthritis, really for anyone. Some human or humans planning the offerings for that conference thought it worthwhile to offer kids with arthritis time, space, and materials to create. At the time, I just liked making stuff, so I signed up. Now I see how profoundly meaningful that 90-minute creative interlude was. Its very presence on the program was encouragement to see a life with arthritis, a degenerative disease, as a generative opportunity. Mine would not be a life of things breaking down, going away, at least not exclusively. Mine could be a life of turning inward, finding stuff, and making something tangible and beautiful and helpful to put in the world. That's really all I've tried to do since. It's what I want to do from now on. When I was in graduate school, the first time, struggling mightily with a body that seemed to be slowing down and freezing up, even as I became more well-read and a sharper thinker, even as I generated pages with these fingers of writing that got incrementally better, I developed a mantra. I am the things I make. I am not the shape I take. In some way, an early antecedent of this belief was that pocket of time at that conference in Providence, where I was given space to create and a boombox that played music that I still believed I could fit into my hands, arthritic as they were. The second chance meeting, and to be honest, if I were seeing this in a student's manuscript, I'd probably write in the margin, nope, too tidy, revise, is that at an AJAO conference in Denver a few years after Providence, I sat on the floor of a sunny atrium and I listened to Byron Janis play the piano with his own arthritic hands. This concert was no doubt an inspiring experience for all of us kids assembled in the atrium that afternoon. Here was someone whose life with arthritis was marked by what he had done, by what he had made, and not by what he couldn't do or couldn't make. For me, it was profound. The role model I was being offered was not only sharing a message I needed to hear, but he was delivering it in my preferred language, music in general, the piano in particular. Of course, because I was a weird kid, which surprises no one in this room, I thought, I'll leave him a note at the hotel desk. I think I've seen that in books or movies. Please give this to Mr. Janis. And I'm sure the, maitre d' or whatever they're called, bellhops, I don't know. I'm sure he was like, right, will do. Anyway, I thought, I don't think that letter went anywhere. Piano did not end up being the language with which I communicated with the world. And although this was a huge grief for me, it was a loss ameliorated by my ability to create in a different medium, through writing and through teaching. More than once during the writing of my book, I turned to the music that I encountered at that Providence conference, and I turned to Maestro Janis's book to help me reflect on my life with arthritis, derive some meaningful insight, and present it to others in what I hoped was a worthy, artful, beautiful form. I was writing a terrible novel. It was awful. And I brought it to my teacher like, "What is this? It smells." And he said, "Write the book you want to read." And I thought, yeah, okay, I know what that book is. And my book was my way of making peace with not playing the piano. When piano was off the table, my hands, in concert with my brain, found a different way to live out what I had experienced in miniature at that art therapy session in Providence and in that atrium in Denver, a way to be defined by the things I make and do and offer, not by the dreams I've given up on or by my deficits. So while I'm skipping over a lot of stuff, a lot of years, that's to encourage you to buy the book in the lobby after this. Not a joke. That leads us to today, to this incredible coda, where I am here at an Arthritis Foundation conference, again with my mom. But this time I'm on the Jumbotron. Again, I'm in the presence of Maestro Byron Janis, again to hear him play, but this time with the humbling, unbelievable privilege of playing with him. This time, I am not a child wondering what my life with arthritis will be like, but an adult at early middle age, 40's the new 16, looking back with pride on what I have accomplished, looking back with peace about the things I've accepted I won't do, but still with a preteen's anticipation of what is yet to come. I am not wondering if I will have a life I like, but I'm here to tell you I have a life I love. Earlier this week in the school cafeteria, glamorous setting, a few of us teachers and the headmaster were discussing to what age we would return if given the chance. Of course, I had clarifying questions. Do I have to go back and live continuously forward? Can I bring my shoes? Can I bring the wisdom and insight that I have now at 40? And once the terms of the scenario were hammered out to my colleagues' exhaustion, I had to say that I truly wouldn't go back. Sure, maybe for a weekend, I'd go back to 5th grade, the last school year I experienced before I had arthritis, and I would whiz through something on the piano, and maybe I would dazzle my 5th grade crush Byron Green with my critical thinking skills. But why would I leave this life for even a moment? Why would I time travel to have another crack at Byron Green when in real life I'm hanging out with Byron Janis? When Byron Janis extended his invitation, would I like to play a duet today? I leapt at the opportunity. These brazen fingers of mine typed back yes, even before I had a chance to think about whether I could pull it off or not. I'd like to say that's the first time in my life I've done something like that, but it's not. The first piece of music he sent was Schubert. And try as I might, I could not get my hands around it. The same was true of the Mozart he sent next, my two, major classical music crushes. I have to share with all of you that the prospect of writing to Maestro Janis, this generous and gracious man, and saying, no, I can't do it, especially since my brain and my heart can do it. It was just that my stubborn hands could not. That was a strain of heartache I haven't felt in a long while. I had made, or so I thought, my peace with not playing the piano. So on a Friday night a month ago, I sank into sadness. I braced myself to use these fingers to write an email to say I couldn't do it. But on Saturday morning, what a difference a night's sleep makes, I awoke with a refreshed, stubborn streak and a new way of framing the problem. I couldn't get my hands around Schubert or Mozart well enough to play it up to tempo and not embarrass my partner, but I had been able to play parts of it. There is so much musical literature out there. Wasn't it possible that there was a duet somewhere by someone that suited the peculiar abilities and limitations of these hands? If I thought of it that way, then the problem before me was not an arthritis problem. It's not even a physical problem. It was a research problem, and I am good at research. the glasses again. I started online, and then I moved to the stacks of music at Milano's Music in Mesa. I set up camp on the floor, and I dug through every single classical duet they had. And I plunked down $60, and I took home stuff that looked viable. And I opened my piano, which has been far too silent for too long since a brachial plexus injury I had during my last shoulder replacement. And I started to play. I whittled it down to 2 selections, and I offered them to Byron, hoping he would be amenable. And of course he was. So for the last several weeks, at the end of the school day, after I meet with students or go to a faculty meeting, after my cannot break it writing date at Starbucks with my laptop, I have headed home to practice piano before dinner. I can no longer put in the long acrobatic hours I once did. I'm pretty much limited to 30 minutes while my salmon cooks before Jeopardy comes on. It's my next goal. But I am playing. I try to connect strings of notes in the legato phrases I understand, even though I have to find alternative ways to finger these passages. My playing is not perfect, and if I compare it with what I used to be able to do, it's not even good. But perfect music I made 30 years ago, if I ever did, has nothing on imperfect music I make now. One is imaginary and one is real. One is memory and one is music. I love memories as much as the next guy, probably more. That's how you end up writing memoirs. But in this instance, I choose music. As a teacher, I counsel my students that an absolutely terrible rough draft that exists is way more valuable than a perfect paper they're going to write. I also tell them that no hard work is ever wasted. Practice making sentences, even if you don't keep those sentences, and you will be a better sentence maker. So if this playable piece of music is out there, there must be more. With my research skills and my stubbornness, and my fingers that can still do something which is ever so much more than nothing, there may be a whole repertoire of piano pieces I can fit in my hands, and if there isn't, I will write them. Maybe piano isn't off the table after all. Maybe nothing is. The experience of preparing for today, especially preparing music for today, contains 2 lessons I have learned 100 times over in my life with arthritis, but each time they feel like epiphanies. I offer these to you now, and I ask you to think about them in terms of your personal connections to arthritis and your work with the Arthritis Foundation. The first is this: rare is the truly impossible situation. There is almost always a different way to frame the problem, a different angle to take, a fresh paradigm to apply. Think, what is the problem that has you stumped? The example I shared was what appeared to be a physical mechanical problem that I countered with a mental imaginary. What is it for you? Is it a fundraising problem that seems impossible if you think of it as a fundraising problem, but less so if you think of it as a storytelling problem? And my second takeaway, you can always, always do more than nothing. This is my decidedly less sophisticated take on Voltaire, le mieux est l'ennemi du bien, or perfect is the enemy of the good. Your choices are not everything and nothing. You can always, always do something. When I'm recovering from joint surgeries, I have a policy of adding 10 to 50% to whatever is asked of me in PT. You tell me to do 20 leg lifts, you get 22 to 30. This can, of course, be taken too far, and this does not constitute medical advice, and you should consult with your physician before undertaking any exercise or physical therapy regimen. But I think the important thing is that you have an unbreakable, uncompromising, do something policy. 30 years ago, someone, a volunteer or an employee of this foundation, in some planning meeting, suggested that art therapy session. Someone somewhere thought maybe a little music while we create would be helpful. Someone somewhere made a call to Byron Janis and invited him to perform for that atrium full of kids with arthritis. Those someones did something, and those somethings have been my everything. In just a moment, Maestro Janis and I, feels like a dream, and are going to play a duet at the piano. We've been practicing, and before that, though, We're going to play a short video to tell you more about his incredible life, his incredible legacy, the beautiful things he makes with his life and with his talents. So please enjoy that video. Thank you.
Byron Janis, to me, represents both the struggles and the triumphs of being an artist. It's just an inspirational story, achieving the greatest heights despite the fact that we're human and we have all of these frailties. They're all a part of who we are.
You've got to be sort of naked up there on the stage. I was a shy young man, but not with the piano. With the piano, I just became, let everything happen.
He belongs in that great romantic tradition of bringing fire and love and emotion to the works he's playing.
I think he goes a step further with the different moods that he creates in any given piece that he plays. It has such amazing color, from the grays to the, to the intense colors that he's able to express.
Color is so important in piano playing, particularly because it's a percussive instrument. Hammers against the string. You have to make it sound like a voice.
And the poetry that he has, very few people have that. And it is electrifying.
One of the unexpected bumps in the road was when Byron was diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis.
It eventually went to every finger, my wrists, and all the joints. I had 5 surgeries on my hand altogether.
If he hadn't played the piano, it would have been not so bad. But for someone who started at the age of 4, and that's who you are, it's also losing your soul if someone says, well, you can't do that anymore. So he was in no way gonna accept that, and he hasn't.
A big part of my life was mind over matter.
He's passionate about love. He's passionate about his wife. His life experiences have just molded and shaped his artistry in a very, very profound way.
Talent, passion, and perseverance are all 3 very important. And what you do with them is up to you.
The clarity of his playing is phenomenal. And he's just, blessed from heaven. As far as I'm concerned, Byron Janis is absolutely on the top of the greatest pianists who ever lived.
Bravo, maestro, bravo. Wow, how beautiful. Both Byron and Andrea, that was breathtaking. Thank you so very much. You know, Byron is just so inspirational. He has said repeatedly, and I heard it again today, I have arthritis, but arthritis doesn't have me. We just witnessed that, and we've witnessed that our entire conference, haven't we? Again, another round of applause for Byron and Andrea. I am so honored to be part of this conference and this very, very special day. Not many of us have the opportunity to meet our personal heroes, and I got to witness it. Thank you for sharing with us, Andrea. Thank you so very much. You should know that immediately following our lunch, we're hosting actually a book and CD signing out there in the foyer featuring Andrea and Byron. Please stop by and meet these two artists in person. Take home a memory. By the way, Byron has generously agreed to give a portion of his proceeds of the CD to the AF. So again, thank you very, very much. Over the last few days, we've watched a number of videos outlining our strategic initiatives. We have one more, so let's watch just one final video that highlights each of our 4 initiatives and how your support will help us to achieve those goals.
The arthritis community depends on the Arthritis Foundation for the most current information and insights on treatment options. We're the world's largest network of arthritis patient voices. We bring unparalleled success through legislative actions and by paving the pathway to new discoveries. There's no organization better equipped or committed to conquering arthritis than we are. Building on this foundation, we are the champion of 4 bold new initiatives. With your help, we will open a new era for OA therapeutic development, accelerating the pace of scientific discovery and shortening the path to bring new drugs to market. We'll end the trial and error treatment of nearly 300,000 children in the U.S. with juvenile arthritis and help make personalized medicine a reality. We'll reverse the widening shortage of rheumatologists with an expanded fellowship program across the country. And we'll improve overall health outcomes by establishing a national network that provides doctors and patients with a secure communications channel where they can co-produce a care plan in real time. Our initiatives are bold, audaciously attacking the more than 100 types of arthritis out there. Millions of lives will be changed. But none of this can happen without your financial support. A real change to the future of arthritis is coming. Will you be part of it?
We're in the home stretch now. This year's Conference of Champions has just been incredible. I think you all share the same enthusiasm and energy, really, that comes out of this. I don't know about you. I just want to say, wow. It's been an incredible couple of exciting days. From recapping our wins to reconnecting and networking with our AF family, to learning how each of us can play a significant role in reaching our mission to find a cure for arthritis. I'm ready to go home and engage fellow volunteers and people with arthritis. How about you? Now I'd like to introduce to you someone I hope some of you already know, others are going to be so excited to meet. Our 2017 National Youth Honoree, Kate Wingate. Kate was only 18 months old when her parents noticed that her knee was swollen and her leg unable to straighten. They took her to the ER and left with no explanation. After referral to Duke's Children's Hospital and several more tests, Kate was finally diagnosed with polyarticular juvenile idiopathic arthritis with enthesitis-related arthritis. While Kate battles arthritis and its pain every day, she maintains a smile that you have seen and will see more of, and an incredibly positive outlook, an intense desire to give back to others and give hope to others. Kate actively raises awareness about the national shortage of pediatric rheumatologists and has raised more than $34,000 through Jingle Bell Run fundraising, money to fight arthritis and help find a cure. Please give a very warm welcome to Kate Wingate and her mother, Brook.
Thank you so much. Kate and I are thrilled to be here to share just a little bit about our purpose and passion for the work of the Arthritis Foundation. Events like this are so special because they remind us of the many people that are working to find a cure for this debilitating disease. As a parent of a child with arthritis, every pain causes concern. Where some parents can say, "Oh, go to bed, you'll feel better in the morning," my husband and Paul and I cannot do that. Every pain causes wonder and question and concern. And when Kate goes to a sleepover, we don't get just to send her sleeping bag. We send her daily medication and instructions either to the parent or to Kate on how to take it. That moment that so many of us in the room have experienced, where a doctor turns to you or to a loved one and pronounces that diagnosis of arthritis, can seem so very lonely. Will you have to stop doing what you love? Will your child have a normal life? The Arthritis Foundation helps answer those questions, and it connects us to people who ask those same things. Thanks to all of you, we have a purpose: to find a cure and to provide support until we do. You bring out our passion, and we can't thank you enough. We will never be able to repay the many people who have stood beside us on this journey, but fundraising for the Arthritis Foundation is one small step. That's why Kate and I stay involved, and while we especially fundraise for the Jingle Bell Run. So now it's my pleasure to turn it over to my champion of yes, my hero, my daughter, Kate.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kate Wingate. I'm 13 years old, and I'm battling juvenile arthritis with a passion. Most people don't know that I have JA unless I'm having a painful flare that stops me from doing the things I love and going to school. This is hard because when I tell people I have arthritis, they don't always believe me because it's a disease that mainly presents in adults. However, over 300,000 kids in the US have arthritis of one kind or another. When you include all the adults with arthritis, this terrible disease affects 1 in 4 people in the country. The problem is there aren't enough pediatric rheumatologists to go around. I know some people who have to travel to different states for care, and I'm very fortunate to have my hospital so close by. I know you all know this, but it's worth hearing again and again about how many families are affected and how much pain they go through every single day. Each year, my family and I fundraise and support the Arthritis Foundation through the Jingle Bell Run. I'm always amazed at how many people come out to run, and it's always the highlight of my holiday season. The Jingle Bell Run also reminds people how serious and life-altering arthritis is. For others, it's their first time hearing about the impact arthritis. And more people join us every year, eager to help any way they can. Each year, my family and I create t-shirts, and I see them worn year-round by my classmates. It's really become a tradition. The Jingle Bell Run and all other events that Arthritis Foundation puts on every year really inspire me. And I think everyone needs to have the chance to have the great experiences I do. Think about all the kids and adults that don't get care or even receive a diagnosis. That's what inspires me. That's my purpose right now, and I'm already putting all the passion I can into it. And so can you. We need to fundraise to fight arthritis everywhere. We need more research and to raise our voices higher. We need connections, working together, being proud fundraisers and champions of yes, but we can't do it alone. Please, go out there to make your local Jingle Bell Run a huge success. We're counting on you. If you don't have a team to join, feel free to look up Kate's Caped Crusaders in Raleigh, North Carolina. Nationwide, the Arthritis Foundation has a goal to raise over $8 million. This may seem huge and impossible, but together we can achieve it. As this year's Jingle Bell Run National Youth Honoree, I want to help increase awareness about arthritis, raise money for a cure, and help get pediatric rheumatologists in every state. Thank you for this opportunity and for joining me. So pick up those bells on your table. Let's get jolly for a reason and jingle together. Are you with me? If you are with me, shake those bells. I can't hear you. There you go. Hear that? That's the sound I like to hear. Jingle on.
Wow. Jingle on. Kate, thank you for sharing. Thanks for sharing your story, and thank you for serving as such an inspiration to us and the nearly 300,000 kids in America who are living with arthritis and other rheumatic diseases. It's, again, incredibly inspirational. Now, I let the bag out early because I couldn't resist, but we do have one final enjoyable surprise. Not so much of a surprise anymore, but I bet you're going to enjoy it. I'd like everyone to please stand and put your hands together for Ana Villafañe.
So you might know this one, but we're going to do a little different. So. You say, I know it's a waste of time, there's no use trying. So scared that life's gonna pass you by, your spirit dying. Not long ago, I could feel your strength and your devotion. What was so clear is now overcast with mixed emotion. Thank you, guys.
Wow. Well, if that doesn't inspire us to make it happen, what's going to? Ana, thank you. Truly amazing, energizing, incredible, motivating. Well, that's it, folks. I don't know where to go from that. This wraps up a truly amazing conference. You've traveled from near and far, and we really appreciate your participation. We could not do any of this without each one of you. I hope you will plan on joining us next year, again at the 2018 Conference of Champions, this time in Baltimore, Maryland, November 8th and 9th. So let's go out there, let's finish our year strong, let's focus on making your local Jingle Bell Run the best event ever. Recruit your family, recruit your friends, recruit your neighbors, recruit your coworkers, recruit that stranger at the coffee shop. Everyone you know and people who you need to know. Get them out there to engage with us and end the year making a big dent in the fight against arthritis. It is your passion, your shared purpose that keeps us going. It is your energy, your enthusiasm that are contagious, and you will see it spread far and wide, and that's what it's all about. Get on your feet and make it happen. Thank you.